A sensei returns to show no mercy. Here's your look at the Diamond Select Cobra Kai John Kreese. Decades after the tournament that changed their lives, the rivalry between Johnny and Daniel reignites in the sequel to the Karate Kid films. This deluxe action figure of John Kreese is based on his appearance in the Netflix series Cobra Kai. It features 16 points of articulation, multiple interchangeable hands, and support stand. It was sculpted by Chris Dahlberg and Rocco Tartamella. Like the Daniel LaRusso we looked at earlier, I'd like to thank the folks over at Diamond Select that did come through once again and provide this sample of the new Cobra Kai John Kreese that we could have a look at in this video. Grabbing now the tape measure, which just so happens to match the same color as his karate gi, let's figure out how tall John Kreese stands. First, with inches, the figure stands 6.5 inches in height. Spin it around, the figure stands 16 centimeters tall. Now, just to slide over John Kreese and free up some space next to him, we can bring in the previously looked at Daniel LaRusso, who seems to have some slight problems standing. I don't know real why, but there we go. Even though he is leaning forward slightly, it looks like Daniel LaRusso is perhaps just a little bit taller than Kreese, and I think it's more to his neck, as it looks like at least the gis, minus, mind you, that John Kreese doesn't have sleeves, but it looks like the karate gis themselves are same from one to the other. It looks like at least this part of it, not to interrupt the picture here with my fingers in front of it, but it seems like this part of their bodies perhaps are the same. We're going to look at more of that in a second. On to the accessories that come included with John Kreese. Like the case before when we looked at Daniel LaRusso, he comes with his own unique dojo display stand. Let's just reach off to the side and bring in the one that came included with Daniel LaRusso. Same shape stand, same hole on both the sides that's going to accommodate the adjustable neck that we'll look at in a second, and one single peg in the same place that's going to attach to the undersides of their footing. The difference, of course, is not only just the coloring of the plastic, but of course the logo of the dojo is different. Cobra Kai more in a bright yellow, and the Miyagi-Do is more in a dark, almost darker green. But they do complement the characters rather nicely. It wasn't even a case where Daniel LaRusso or John Kreese needed to have included display stands, but the fact that Diamond would include them with the figures, I like that. I like it. The figure, like I said, already comes included with the also adjustable neck that plugs into the hole that's supported onto the side of the display stand. And right now it only serves to be sort of a coat rack, a place where you could just hang articles of things. I guess if you wanted to, you could be fun and just angle this down. And you could take some of his accessories, like, for example, the tonfas, and just have them resting on top of it. The real purpose of it, actually, is if you spin the figure around, located here on the back, like Daniel LaRusso, there is a hole right there that plugs onto the back of the display stand. Now, I'm fine for the idea that Diamond did include these in the first place, but honestly, the amount of plastic used for that, I would have used instead that plastic for another accessory instead. I mean, this adjusts, mind you, in different places. There's knuckle joints at the bottom and along the ways up to the top that allows this to adjust and bend. And, as you already saw, part of it falling off. You can take the parts of the post and just detach them if you didn't want to have it as long. I mean, really, it fell off at probably the best place because I wouldn't want to have it any higher than that. I guess if you did want to have John Kreese jumping, although at his age, it's probably not best advised, you could probably do that as well. But I feel like in a case like this, I would have maybe just saved the plastic altogether, not include it with the figures, and maybe, if anything, if they wanted to use that plastic, use it towards instead a different accessory instead. The figure also comes included in a case like Daniel LaRusso. We're going to bring his in right now. They come included with matching at least sculpted bow staffs. Although Daniel's was more the lighter color of caramel, John Kreese's is more the darker color of licorice. Why are we describing this as food? They seem to be identical, though. And again, more just sparring staffs. I guess if you wanted to display it with the figure, they're there available if you wanted to. The figure also comes included with a pair of sai. The sai are made of a more thinner plastic than the staff. And these fit into his hands. Actually, the hands, when he came out of the packaging, he was already holding the sais. You can display him with that. Just to show you what it actually does look like, you can go ahead and take the sai. Just be careful that you don't bend the tip of it. And that just fits into his hands. And again, you can do the exact same thing on the other side also as well. Just like that. The figure, at least for the rest of his weapons, the figure also comes included with a pair of tonfas. The tonfas are essentially just nightsticks, and they've been sculpted here all in black plastic. It seems to be the case with all the accessories that none of them are actually painted. Instead, they just simply have sculpted them in the plastic and just left it at that. I don't think really, in a case like this, Cobra Kai always likes to have all their sparring tools in black. Why would you even have to go in there and paint it? Just simply mold it in that plastic and call it a day. But like I said, the figure comes included with a couple of tonfas also as well. The figure also comes included with a fist hand. The knuckles, you'll notice, are not bloody. He hasn't been smashing windows, at least as of late. And the figure also comes included with these hands. Now, these hands are kind of cool. First of all, you can have them as thumbs up hands. So if somebody has cheated and the referee has not spotted it, John Kreese can give the good thumbs up, like job well done. We're totally winning this by just being cheating all the time. The other thing about these hands is that you can also take these hands, not these hands. We're going to take those out in a second. You can take, first of all, the side, remove those. Just remove the hands from the sockets of the forearms. Just wiggle these back and forth. Quickly making this into a tutorial and less a review. You can also take then the hands, just plug that into place. There we go. If you're having, by the way, any difficult time putting these back properly into the forearms, I find it helps to twist them as you're putting them in place. You can also heat them up also in hot water. Do the exact same thing on the other side. Just wiggle these off. The post in this case, they've actually used a longer post for the peg, so you just want to be careful that you don't snap that along the way. And again, we're just going to go ahead and pop this in place. Why are we wasting all this time in this review to do this? Why? Somebody asks in the back of the audience. Well, sir, in case you were curious, the neat thing about this is that you can actually just take the elbows and bend them. And you can have John Kreese, sort of what he does a lot of the times, he rests his fingers sort of inside the part of his belt. Now, one thing at least is the fact that the elbows are bendable in two places. But you kind of almost get the same, you sort of get the same effect. And I have to believe that that's the reason why Diamond Select included these in the first place. You have the thumbs in his belt sort of hands. That's, again, the only thought that I had, at least when I saw these. So those are the accessories to come included with John Kreese. We're going to keep the thumbsies out hands for the time being. Getting a closer look at the figure. Keeping in mind, of course, this is a slightly older Martin Kove, the gentleman who plays, of course, John Kreese. I also know him from a Friday night series that was short-lived, Hard Times on Planet Earth. He was a prisoner that was banished to Earth. He had to learn the ways of the human race, and he had like a little floating pod thing that went around with him with a big giant eye. Does anybody remember Hard Times on Planet Earth? Probably nobody remembers Hard Times on Planet Earth. But anyways, it's a good likeness, I have to say, to John Kreese and Martin Kove, the actor. In fact, if anything, I think a likeness is a little bit better and spot on than what we got here with Daniel LaRusso, just to bring him in right now. The skin tone is definitely different between the two. John Kreese has a more lighter, fairer skin than what we get with the darker color of Daniel LaRusso. In both the cases, I really think that the head sculpts are good. My only, again, complaint, criticism, if anything, is that Daniel LaRusso had a little too long of a neck. I think Martin Kove, or in this case John Kreese, has a appropriately scaled, proportioned neck. It's just the right length. When it comes to his outfits, though, I guess I will hold on to Daniel LaRusso. It seems to me, at least from the eyes that I'm using behind the cameras, it looks like he's actually using the same mold of gi. Minus, of course, yeah, John Kreese would have had sleeves. Well, no sleeves on him. And then, Daniel LaRusso would have had sleeves. Other than that, though, it does look like they're probably using the same torso piece, same lower part of the actual gi jacket. And it also looks like they're using perhaps the same legs and even same feet. Now, if it means on Diamond's part that they are reusing the molds at least to give us, brand new figures, I'm not too bothered by that either, really. I mean, if it means that we are getting characters that we wouldn't have gotten any other time, or if this was the case where they only would have released like a Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso, and that was it, or there was the option of reusing the molds and giving us a John Kreese and maybe down the road Terry Silver. Oh, I hope we get Terry Silver. I'd be fine for the idea that they are using the same molds. Now, John Kreese does do away with the sleeves in favor of sleeveless arms. He's all about showing off the tattoo that they have nicely replicated here on his bicep. He doesn't have one on this side, but he does have one on the other side here. And again, being the fact he doesn't have the sleeves, it does make him look a little thinner in the arms, but keeping in mind, again, like, he is older, after all, by the time that he's doing this. I think Martin Kove is well into his 70s at the time that he's doing John Kreese in Cobra Kai. But I think the head sculpt is good. I think, like, overall, like, the body does look quite good on him. I had one issue on mine. It's only something I wanted to point out on mine, that there seems to be just a little bit of paint chippage on the ends of his ear, at least on this ear. It may not be the case on other figures, but it's certainly something I did want to point out on mine. But yeah, I'm happy with the likeness here that they've captured for John Kreese. Articulation on this figure is going to be the exact same as Daniel LaRusso. I was spinning my hand. The head rotates all the way around. Now, rotating the head, you'll see already, one thing it does do, as you rotate the head around, when it gets to about this point, and it wasn't the case of Daniel LaRusso, maybe that was one of the reasons why he had his longer neck. When you do rotate John Kreese's head, this is only a place where normally you would want to rotate a human head anyways. Any bit past this point would either cripple the poor person or just kill them. But if you did decide to want to rotate it all the way around on the figure, it does usually pop the head right off the ball joint. You just want to pop that back into place. Head does look back and forth, though. It does look down, it does look up, and you can also slightly rock it back and forth. Figure's arms do come out. They're a little more on the tighter side, I noticed here with John Kreese. You can bring them out, but they're a lot harder, at least on my figure, to get a 90-degree angle bend. You can take also those arms and rotate them all the way around. The figure does have a bicep swivel. The figure does have a double hinge on the elbow. The figure does also have a swivel in the hand, and it also hinges back and forth with the thumb hands that we're going to be using for the rest of this review. Upper torso is on a ball joint, or a little lower than that, just above the belt. The figure does also seem to have a waist swivel. From what I can see, it doesn't seem to be a ball joint. It seems only that it's a waist swivel. Doesn't seem like it actually rocks back and forth. All the rocking seems to be more at the top here. Legs split out, like the case before with LaRusso. You can bring the legs forward, bring the legs back. About 3/4 of the way up the thigh, there's a swivel cut. You can take, of course, the leg and rotate that all the way around. The figure does have also a double hinge on the knee. Articulation here, the same as Daniel's feet that we looked at before, and he also has the ankle rocker. Again, I got to believe that they are using the same bodies for these figures. It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, again, when you're looking at the figures, and that might be one of the reasons why also, now that I think about it, they probably increased the length of Daniel LaRusso's neck, was so that they could make him a little bit taller than John Kreese. Because in the series and the original Karate Kid, Daniel LaRusso, back then, Daniel LaRusso would have been shorter than John Kreese. But I think by the time that he does grow up in Cobra Kai, Daniel LaRusso, I believe, is taller than John Kreese in the series. And that might be one of the reasons why they decided to make Daniel's neck a little bit longer. Keep the bodies the same, keep the molds the same, but by increasing the length of the neck, it also increases Daniel LaRusso's height. We haven't yet looked at Johnny Lawrence, but I would imagine that they probably are going to be using, again, the same gi mold for both those figures, also carrying over to John Kreese. The thing about it, though, is I don't know for like a character like if they ever do a Terry Silver. Terry Silver is a lot taller of a character. Maybe they might use the same body proportions and the same mold, and maybe I don't want to think that they would just make a longer neck to make Terry Silver taller, because of course he would be taller than John Kreese and he would be taller than Johnny Lawrence. I hope that we are, first of all, going to be getting a Terry Silver, but I have to wonder if Diamond is going to be planning to reuse the same bodies. Again, if they are, it doesn't bother me. It's not a deal breaker at all. The fact that we are actually getting Cobra Kai figures, the very fact that we are looking at Cobra Kai figures right now, makes me, as a Karate Kid fan, extremely happy. I hope that Diamond Select will continue to release more characters above and beyond just the trio that we've seen advertised so far, the Daniel Lawrence, the John Kreese, and Johnny Lawrence. You know what's so funny about John Kreese is the fact that he comes included with all of these accessories, a pair of tonfas, he comes included with a bow staff, comes included with a pair of sai. At the end of the day, I'm just going to display this figure anyways with the thumbs in his belt hands, the hands that came included with the figure. I'm just happy the fact that they actually included those hands. This is permanently the way I'm going to be displaying the figure, because after all, in John Kreese's case, anytime you ever see him in Karate Kid or Cobra Kai, he's always just doing this. I mean, how often do you ever see him holding a tonfa? How often do you ever see him holding a sai? Only a few instances. Every other time, the thumbs are right in the belt. And that's what I'm going to be doing here with the figure. I love the fact that they actually included those hands. Now, we are looking, this is Series 1, by the way, of Cobra Kai figures from the folks over at Diamond Select. Already now, we can check off on our list of Cobra Kai figures, Daniel LaRusso, which I might have even called him Johnny LaRusso at the end of this review. It was hard to read. I'm loving this line so far. We have yet to look at Johnny Lawrence. Now, this is Series 1. The fact that any company ever puts Series 1 or Series anything on the packaging usually implies that they have plans in the pipeline to release another wave. So I'm sure we're not just going to be getting a Daniel LaRusso, John Kreese, and Johnny Lawrence. No. They probably have planned already a future second series, maybe a series 3, a series 4. I hope they continue the trend of releasing more Cobra Kai characters. John Kreese does look good along with Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso, but we got to think of some of the younger staff, the younger characters from this series. You got to be throwing them in there also as well. And if they can also throw out, just wishful thinking more on my part than anything else, a Terry Silver. Love to see them actually release a Terry Silver. Probably still in the same proportions, but that doesn't bother me at all. If it means we get more characters, all the better. A big thank you, though, to the folks over at Diamond Select that once again did provide the sample of John Kreese that we can have a look at in this review. He doesn't like to be called Johnny Kreese. He's going to sweep your leg if you're going to do that. But what do you guys think of the figure line so far? Let me know down below in the comment section. This is a line that you guys would be picking up for yourself. And have you been watching Cobra Kai? If you haven't, you are missing out. If you were a fan of the original 80s Karate Kid trilogy, we're not going to, again, count the next Karate Kid. Nobody counts the next Karate Kid. Nobody. You think of the trilogy, Karate Kid 1, Karate Kid 2, Karate Kid 3, and that's it. Call it a day. That's where we package everything up. We don't even consider next Karate Kid. But if you are, though, a fan of the original Karate Kid series from the 80s, the next logical step already would be to watch Cobra Kai. If you haven't already watched it, do watch the series. It's now available over on Netflix. And let me know what you guys think of the series. Well, we are definitely going to be looking at some more Diamond Select reviews coming your way. So yes, make sure you're keeping your Dojo Peepers peeled to this channel, which are basically just regular peepers. I just have to throw Dojo in there also as well. And it's definitely going to be a lot more the Diamond Select reviews coming your way. So as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.